Hey everyone, I'm Steven.
And I'm April. And this is your weekly dose of what's new, what matters, and what's changing in the world of ABA and ethical business leadership.
We're live every Monday to bring you the headlines, insight, and honest conversation you won't hear anywhere else.
And if you're catching this on Tuesday, welcome to the podcast version, where we turn real-time updates into lasting takeaways.
This is the ABA Business Leaders News Update, powered by 3Pi Squared. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to ABA Business Leaders News. Today is Tuesday, July 8th. And just like last week, no live on Monday morning this week. We're just going straight to the news on Tuesday to reduce our load as we take some time off in July. But we still wanted to show up weekly for you for the news. So happy July 8th. I hope everyone had a great week last week.
Yeah.
The real story on ABA insurance mandates when low rates undercut the promise. So, story time. State insurance mandates for ABA were designed to give families real access to care. And for many, they changed lives. But now, years into implementation, the reality for many ABA providers is bleak. Reimbursement rates are often set so low that ethical business owners can't cover payroll, benefits, training, or supervision. Many providers are forced to subsidize low-paying contracts with higher-paying clients or turn families away. As a result, the promise of the mandate is being undercut, and the field risks losing both quality and sustainability. This is real stuff.
Yeah.
This is real stuff. These rates. All right, key points. Insurance mandates open the door, but low rates now threaten the viability of ABA businesses. I mean, Stephen has said on numerous occasions, yeah, there's mandates, but are like that they reduce the some of like the
and that's what
the limits and but
and that's what this story is from. Like, the sources are the people that I talk to on a daily basis. It's essentially these funders that are giving low rates are subverting the mandate by making it on like, you're going to lose money on every case that you take, every hour that you provide. You're going to lose money. How do you do that, right?
Right.
And so another funder or self-pay is subsidizing these low rates. And I've heard that more than once, right? Where I understand that these are low rates, and this other company is subsidizing these low rates. I just like, yeah, that's a difficult choice, and it's unfair to ask well-meaning ethical providers to have to make that choice.
Providers struggle to pay staff competitively, cover taxes, insurance, training, and supervision with current reimbursement levels. I mean, I know, like, training for one, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to really look at and plan how you're going to provide training, because that is outside of the billables, right? And so really you have to look at what all goes into paying your staff. It's not just the hourly rate, the hourly wage. It's all of these other things as well. Unsustainable rates force some practices to cross-subsidize or reject certain funders, limiting family access. Poor reimbursement can impact service quality, provider retention, and long-term outcomes for clients. For all of those reasons,
yes,
you can't pay your staff. You can't keep things running consistently. You can't pay for training. You can't pay for some extra things to like give some like extra like paid time off or things like that.
I mean, there's also the other side. Let's say you have some very passionate ABA therapists behavior technicians. They're doing amazing work, but they're not going to leave because they love the job and they love the company. And they go home at night and they do Uber, or they do Uber Eats, or they do some kind of
part-time gig, yeah.
work because they can't pay their bills otherwise. What does that do, right? Like, okay, how do you even control that burnout, right?
Yeah.
Because they go home from their, very intense, stressful job that they do 8 hours a day, and now they go and they do their next 4 hours of work. Like, how do you control that if you cannot provide them a rate, like a wage that they can live at, right?
Yeah.
And that's out of your control when a funder is under the Medicaid rate, right? Like, so that's yeah.
Yeah. The field risks race to the bottom scenarios with quality providers pushed out by those willing to cut corners. Whew.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing is like, well-meaning, right? Want to do what they want to help everybody that they can, and they take a rate. Again, we did the same thing, so it's not like we were there with you, and we took rates that we absolutely should not have, and after the fact said, what are we doing? How are we able to do this? We can't do this, and yeah, you're going to make a decision. Am I going to give this person a raise, or am I going to keep this funder? Am I going to provide training? Am I going to give them a vacation? Am I going to provide benefits, or am I going to keep this funder? Right? Like those are the decisions that you have to make.
Yeah. So more recommendations for you guys. Analyze your rates and actual costs. Don't accept contracts that put your business at risk.
And I will say, like, one thing that we hear often is, I don't even know what rates I can accept. Mm-hmm. Talk to us. Talk to Margin Keepers. Shout out to Margin Keepers. They do amazing work here. They actually helped us build our calculator. So thank you very much. But yeah, talk to them and say, I need to know what I can pay people. What rate, like what range can I pay people and still be profitable, right? So, like I said, we are about to release a calculator to help with that in our ABA Business Leaders platform. But reach out to Margin Keepers. They can help with this stuff. You do need to know if you can accept these rates or not, right?
And what even good rates are, and what
Exactly.
rates that you need, and how, depending on your company and
Correct.
what you're wanting to pay your staff and what benefits you're wanting to give, and how much training you want to have in there. Because you do need to pay your staff for training.
Yes.
Collaborate with state ABA associations and advocacy groups to push for fair reimbursement. I really feel like this is something I talk about on the regular, reaching out to other providers in your community, but also reaching out to your state ABA organization. But how can, work together? How can we together in this state make change? How can we get better rates? What rates, I know the whole, I was supposed to share your rates thing, but they are published. They are out there.
Yep. I mean, like, so Medicaid and TRICARE are out there, right? And, we can get into the rules about, should the other rates be posted? Yes, they're supposed to be. No, it's really difficult to get them. That's a different story for another day. But thank you, Autism Speaks, and everybody that got these mandates in place. But now I need your help with this because of this funder, and this area is causing this problem, and bring all your friends and bring all your clients, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To any ABA state association and make this a priority. Because if you don't make it a priority, nobody's going to make it a priority. You have to do this.
So along those lines, educate legislators, payers, and families on what a sustainable, ethical ABA really costs. Prioritize transparent communication with clients about funding realities. I think there is a way that you can do that in a very professional manner without guilting them. Correct. Or, some weird, sometimes I hear things that people say to them and I'm like, should you really be saying it that way to your clients? It's not their fault, but educating them in a way that's, professional. And some parents would really be more than happy to hop on the campaign,
Absolutely.
right? To
Yeah,
be
yeah,
able
yeah,
to
yeah.
go to legislators and get the word out amongst other
Even
parents.
if you don't like, if you actively do not accept contracts because because you saw the rates and you're like, I can't accept this, and then you get phone calls from parents that have that insurance and you're like, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. You should also say, and here is where you go to make your voice known to try and change this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Like
So-
give a call to action, whether
Yeah.
they take it or not, but at least you're
Yes.
giving them that information.
Some tool.
It's not
Yeah.
it's just not me not taking this insurance because I don't want to take it.
Yes.
It's me, I can't afford to take this
Correct.
insurance. I apologize for that. And we would love for you to be part of that change. Now, there again, in a very professional, non-pushy way too, because a lot of times parents who are calling to look for services are very overwhelmed and grieving anyways, but we have to all work together.
Yes.
We have to advocate collectively, organize campaigns, involve families, and share real world impact stories to the drive change. If you have like a newsletter or an email that gets sent out to your families, having a little corner or article within that talks about these things could be helpful too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, again, shout out to Margin Keepers. I think that, if you want to educate your legislators and your payers on what ethical, sustainable ABA looks like and how much that actually costs, you can't do that unless you know how much it actually costs, right? So you like, oh, well, we pay this much in paper clips and we pay, right? Like that's not going to do anything for anyone, right? This is how much we spend on laminators. We want to know this is how much of this rate goes to expenses, right? Like I only make 6% profit. Like I'm not driving around in a Beamer here, guys. Right? Like I'm barely making it. And so having those numbers and being able to state them in a very matter of fact, not really emotional, even though it is very emotional, right? And it's very personal. Saying it in a objective, non-personal way, I think would be very helpful. And, if you do meet people in that space that maybe can push for change, you already have your script. Like, this is how much it costs. This is how much I make, like this is our profitability. Things need to change, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that if more of us do this, like there was a dental organization, I think it was in Ohio, and they all just said, okay, we can't do this anymore. And they pushed for change and they got a really big increase in their rates. And this has to be done state by state, right? This is just how it's going to have to be. And then hopefully you get Medicaid rates increased, and then the private funders normally, not always, but normally they'll follow suit and increase their rates as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to the next one. We've got about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then I think this one is just...
Oh, are you setting it up for this next one?
Unfortunately, this is what happens when stuff like this happens.
Oh, goodness. When trust is broken, what every ABA provider must learn from recent abuse allegations. Hold, I don't really want to read the story, but here's the story. Recent news of abuse by an in-home ABA therapist is devastating blow, not just for the families affected, but for the trust at the heart of the ABA field. Every provider, owner, and clinician must recognize that systems matter, from screening and supervision to reporting, transparency, and ongoing training. This isn't about blaming individuals, but about building robust systems that protect children and reinforce the profession's ethical standards.
So I didn't name names in the thing, partly because I just don't want to get I don't know the rules. I assume if it's on the internet, I could share it if I wanted to, but I didn't name names. But I did put 3 links to this thing that happened. Horrible case of abuse. And it was a 14-year-old, and I think the tech was 32 or something like this. Again, it's an alleged case of abuse at this point. I believe this person is now in jail with $1 million bail, I believe. But, this father walked in on this happening, right? And in the child's room, just horrible. It's just awful, right? And so I don't know what systems this company had in place. I assume they were doing background checks. You know what I mean? But that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to stop it.
Well, I was talking to a provider the other day who did all of the background checks necessary and then found out that a particular employee had a background that would not suitable for this person to be working with children. And amazing, excellent staff member.
Well, I think this is the issue, and it goes back to the previous story. But if you are having to pay people $17 an hour or $18 an hour to do this very difficult, stressful job, right? And they have it in their head, because I guarantee they know, I can go to Starbucks and make more. And how many times have we heard that?
Or Chick-fil-A. I think somebody was like, Chick-fil-A pays really well.
And I can make more than I do here, right? And you have 104% turnover. Mm-hmm. This is what happens, right? It's like, this is just, okay, when you turn over, if you have if you have 100 techs in your company and you turn over 100 people every year, right? And that's a small company, right? If you turn over 100 people, things like this it's bound to happen. Things are going to get missed. That's a lot of background checks. That's a lot of screening to do. That's a lot of training to do. That's a lot of onboarding to do. Things are going to get missed.
Ongoing checks to do.
Yes, all the friggin' time. And so things are going to get missed, and things like this happen, right?
So in-home settings carry unique risks. Families and providers must work together on clear communication and boundaries. I'm sure we'll talk about this more in recommendations, but that was one of the reasons why we had a very zero tolerance, I guess is how you could say it, policy of no, parents may not leave or guardians may not leave during a home session. There must be an adult in the home during the session, but still that would leave can you be in the child's bedroom with the door shut, or down in the basement in the playroom with no parents? We had parents who had cameras up in their house. I 100% go for it, please. Mm-hmm. And there are situations where maybe we would need to, maybe session needs to happen out in the general area of the house. But then there's also, it's easy to say, oh, well, that's too distracting. You need to go into so you do have to weigh out the risks and figure out where your risk, where you're okay with, and make those rules, and then also follow through and make sure that they're happening. Because it's easy for, if there's no follow through, especially in home, that is one of the biggest risks, right? Reporting policies, transparency, and rapid response protocols are essential to prevent and address incidents. Ongoing staff trainings on ethics, boundaries, and child protection should be routine, not optional. The profession's reputation relies on every provider upholding the highest ethical standards. One failure damages trust for all. And going back to this ongoing staff trainings, I really feel like it's important that you do those within your organization. Yes, you can contract out for other people to come in or to rent I don't know, I'm thinking, I know these aren't the days of Blockbuster where you just go rent a training video, or I don't know what I'm thinking here, but
you get the VCR
out and play it in front of everybody.
Most of listening to this probably don't even know what a
VCR or a Blockbuster is. But anyways, no, pull up the YouTube video training during the whole group training or something. I don't know. These are we did it for mandated reporting. Was one of the ones that we just sent people off to go do the mandated reporting that was supposed to do in the state. Yep. But what I'm trying to say is maybe make it more collaborative, make it more you're part of it. Right. This isn't just something that we have to do to check a box. This is important to us as a leadership team, as owners. And this is how we're going to follow through, and this is what we're going to do. And that must be the planes getting ready for the air show.
Maybe, yeah.
So recommendations for providers: review and strengthen background check, hiring and supervision policies for all staff. And ongoing apparently is important too.
Yeah.
Offer families clear information on their rights, reporting pathways, and how concerns will be addressed. And if someone comes to you with a concern, you show that you're going to act on it, right?
Yeah.
And act on it could just mean you start getting curious and you ask questions and you put more things in place to secure everyone's safety.
Yeah.
Invest in ABA-specific ethics and abuse prevention training for your entire team. Communicate openly with families about your commitment to safety and ethical practice. Use any incident as opportunity for field-wide reflection and improvement. Don't sweep it under the rug. Yeah. Don't put your head in the sand. It just, as Steven said, like, we need to talk about these things as hard as they are to talk about, because they're happening.
Yeah. And I think, like, having that, again, just going back to that first article, that just, it just, like, this is the environment that we set up, right? This is just the natural, which is unfortunate. It's awful, right? But this is just kind of the way the water's going that way, right? Like the stream is flowing this way. That's the way it's going to go. So, like, having systems in place, I think, unless there is a really important reason, right? Like, the child is advocating, like, especially when they get older, maybe they don't want to do it in front of their siblings or their parents, right? And I get that, but maybe that means that they need to be at the clinic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where when they're younger, we're going to do this in the main living areas of the home where the parents are at least an earshot of what is going on, right? And I think that either one of those cases probably would have prevented this.
Mm-hmm.
And then having, like, spot checks with supervision. And that's kind of where I go back again to that previous story, is if you're having to make, like, when we did, I hate bringing this up, but I'm going to bring it up again. When we did that I Hate My Job series, like, how many times did we hear, I don't even know my supervisor's name, right? And so if this tech doesn't get supervision,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is what can happen. I'm not saying it happens often, but this is just, again, this is what you're setting up. Right.
I mean, we had the policy that a BCBA could show up at any time to any session. Correct. And we made sure the parents understood that. And it was just something that, for numerous reasons, but one was to be able to do spot checks like this. Right. So get together with your leadership team, or reach out to us if you need someone to bounce ideas off of. Yeah. And
when you're working with children, right? Like, it's just so important.
Not just children, but most of the people that we provide services for, may not be able to advocate for themselves, right? Or maybe in a situation like, like the person of power, right? Like the adult, the tech, it's the teacher, sometimes that's really all that takes. All right. Well, on that heavy note, that is the news for today. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and if you want to stay up to date on the articles, just go to news.3pisquared.com and share, rate, review. Really does help get our name out there.
We'll see you next week.
See ya. Don't miss an update. Sign up for weekly alerts at news.3pisquared.com. It's the easiest way to stay informed and ahead.
If you found this helpful, please rate, review, and share the podcast. It helps us reach more people who care about ethical, sustainable ABA.
We'll see you next Monday live or Tuesday right here on the podcast. We're April and Steven, and this is ABA Business Leaders News Update.